So this one will be a little bit shorter. We're going to get started with Google Cloud, get it set up. And then we're going to install the Google Cloud command line tools too. And we'll make a new project. So this is cloud.google.com. It's the home page for Google Cloud. I want to point out a few things. There is docs here, which is really helpful. The docs take a bit to get used to with Google Cloud, but they're actually quite good. And Google has done a pretty good job of making this somewhat approachable. I have a number of Google Cloud accounts. I'm going to switch to one. Okay. You're going to need to create an account on cloud.google.com, and you're probably going to need at some point to enter a payment method, a credit card or something. Now, Google Cloud does give you $300 credit to start with for the first year. I have exhausted my credits, but new customers do get $300 credit to spend in the first year. And you also get, you can also create new accounts every year if you need to. So for learning purposes, you should be plenty fine to work with Google Cloud and not spend money. But you will need to enter a payment method. So once you're logged in, go to the console. And this is a bit of terminology. This website, this is called the Google console. So when I talk about the console, that's this. When I talk about the CLI, there is also there's a Gcloud command line tool that lets you do basically everything with the terminal. There's also a really neat feature where there's a Cloud shell. We're not going to use it too much here. But this basically gives you a virtual computer and command line interface where you can do all the Gcloud commands via the browser. So if I wanted to, let's open this up in a new tab and maximize it. So I can do all the Gcloud commands via this this command line interface. So even if you don't have access to a computer, you can still do everything with the terminal in the Cloud shell. You can also do virtually everything in the web interface here. So you can look at the marketplace and see all the different entries, all sorts of things you can do here. You can also do them with the command line. We're going to do a mix of the two just to give you some familiarity with it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a project. Basically, any group of related services usually needs to be organized together into a project. So right now, this is my project. I'm going to click on the arrow down here and make a new project. So I'm going to call the project Task List API. And notice it's going to give me this kind of project ID. It's because someone's already made a Task List API project. You can ignore the organization because you're probably not making this for a company. So I'll hit Create. And this is going to start making my project. At this point, you can probably, well, I was going to say go get a cup of coffee, but it's done already. So I'll hit Select Project, or I can go down here and switch between projects this way. But on this top left square here, I want you to note a few things. I'm actually going to copy these. And in my project, I'm going to make a new file and paste it in there. I'm going to save it as notes.md. So project name, project ID, project number. Now, I don't really need all of these, but it's kind of handy. So I'm going to keep them as notes here. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install the command line tools. And for this, you do need the terminal. Now, I already have them installed, so not a big deal for me, but you're going to install them with Homebrew. If you don't have Homebrew, you should get it. But it lets me type brew install --cask Google-cloud.-SDK. So Google-cloud.SDK. And it's going to tell me I already have it installed, which is wonderful. But you can install it as well. I can just run the reinstall. So it'll run through, finish pretty quickly. You will need to put your password in. And once it finishes, you are probably going to need to log in. And it'll open up the browser and you'll log in with your account on the Google Cloud website. So, and it also gives you a couple of things to do if you're using Z Shell, or if you're using let's see. Yeah, if you want to actually, a couple of things to put into your shell to have this start off automatically. So I can copy that, and if I open up I can paste that in there and I can run it. I already have them in my shell, so it's okay. But you will need to do these to get it to work normally. Okay. And I have them in the text instructions as well. So if you want to look at the text instructions, you will need to source a few commands to get this to be installed. Okay, the next thing we need to do is the first thing using our notes. We're going to need to do Gcloud config set project so that we're setting the current project we're working with in Gcloud. Otherwise, you have to say the project you're doing the command for with every command. So we need to give the project ID. So here's my project ID. And we've set it. Okay. So what have we done here? Well, we made an account with the Google Cloud Platform and we logged in. We went ahead and made a project and noted down our project information. And then we installed the command line tools, the Gcloud command, and set it to use the current project we're working with. So in the next video, we're going to set up a Postgres database.